Welcome back, y'all, and happy Saturday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Today, I want to recap on the Polynesian Bowl from last night. We had several Vols that did participate. I want to talk about how they looked and which ones I think have the best opportunities to help us out moving forward as true freshmen in 2025. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. This one's going to be a little bit quicker just because, obviously, our basketball team is about to play at 3 o'clock versus Vanderbilt. So we all want to make sure that we're tuned in for that. But I did want to make sure that I could get this out for y'all. Been a very, very busy morning. I hope that y'all's day has been going well, and I hope that the rest of the weekend goes great for you. So first and foremost, let me pull up this list of the players, and this is going to be in order of the ones that I think perform the best. Okay, so number one, David Sanders, man, look, playing at left tackle. I mean, he didn't really give up an inch in pass pro versus anybody outside of Deuce Gerald's, who I'm gonna tell you, man, for a 2026 kid, and I've talked about this a million times on this channel. He's a player that Tennessee needs to make a priority, okay? This is another Georgia kid. There's 3 kids from the state of Georgia in 2026 that I think we really need to be going out and targeting. I have no idea why Deuce Gerald's is only a 4-star on most sites. I think 24/7 Sports actually has him as a 5-star, but he's unbelievable. He's the only player that I saw beat David Sanders. Now, he only beat him one time, and David Sanders did not give up a sack on that play. And after that, David Sanders just neutralized him. But yeah, I mean, everything that you want to see for a player, we've talked so much about. Can David Sanders come in as a true freshman and maybe plug in at right tackle? I had my reservations before. And yeah, let's keep in mind, they are going up against other high school players. Although it is, the best high school players, it's still a difference from the best high school players to the best players in college. So he wasn't quite seeing that, but I think very close. It's not just necessarily with their stat line or with, how many sacks they gave up or any of that. It's not too much about that. It's more about watching David Sanders as an athlete. As we said a million times, I think he's a generational sort of an athlete. And just, I mean, everything that he does, his footwork, the way that he moves, his body placement, his body control, he is so explosive. There was a couple of times where he's getting up to the second level and all of that type of stuff, just as far as the, run blocking goes. He looked great doing that. I mean, he was killing people with all of the run blocking stuff. So very impressed with him, and he's still going to continue to gain weight. Looks like, I think they had him listed as 6'6", 290. He might be about at that size. Before the season starts, I would expect he gets up over 300 pounds, still moving how he does. I really would not be surprised if he's plug and play at right tackle for us based off of what I saw last night. Very, very impressed with David Sanders. So number 2 for me is going to be Deshaun Brame at tight end. And, I mean, he had a lot of catches. Obviously he had a touchdown. I want to say he might have had 4 or 5, maybe 6 catches. The first one, the ball wasn't thrown perfectly, but you see how strong his hands are. It was a fingertip catch, on a little, I guess like a little like whip route. But, he looks good running his routes. Very big. He's about 6'5", 6'6". I think they had him listed at 230. Might be bigger than that already. He's a guy that I honestly think, y'all, I mean, I know that our tight end room is very, very deep. We've got Miles Kitson coming back. We have Ethan Davis. We love both of those guys. We still have Cole Harrison, who I believe came from California. But everyone tends to kind of like skip over him. He's really good as well. I think he's more of a pass catcher, but he's put on the size. He might be able to also, do some inline blocking for us. But after that, man, we've got Deshaun Brame and then Jack Van Dorsalier. Both of those guys, I think that Jack might be almost as good as Brame, and he might be just as good. So we haven't quite seen him in any of these all-star games and all that. But, man, Deshaun Brame is the real deal. I think it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. We talk so much about does Tennessee want to run more 12 personnel. I said that I love that last season. I think that we can do that again, the way that I talked about it in 2025, where you can run the 12 with the up-tempo offense, and you can have the, both of the tight ends inside of the box as run blockers. You can still run pass plays out of that. Or you can, again, with the tempo, flex them out, flex one of those guys out as a pass catcher. I think that Brame can really do both of those things. And because he's already so physical, something else that might be overlooked with most people is that he looked good blocking in that game. He's looked good blocking on his film. And I will tell you straight up, honestly, that I think that he could actually push potentially, man, to be maybe tight end number 2. Now, again, I know he's just a freshman. We know that Ethan Davis is very good, but Ethan Davis has got to get a lot more physical. That's something that he's going to have to work on. I think he can get that picked up. And if he doesn't, then yeah, I think that Brame is good enough as a true freshman that he could be tight end number 2 for us. Let me get to this chat right here real quick from my dog Adam Fowler saying, do you honestly think Pope will play him? Do I think Pope will play who? Because are you talking about Brain? Because Pope is not the tight ends coach. Pope is the wide receivers coach. So I don't know. Okay. All right. Yeah. So okay. So he's saying right here that he thought that he was a wide receiver. Yeah. So Brame is a tight end. So do I think the coach A will play him? Yeah, I mean maybe. The thing about that room again is that it is so deep. But yeah, Brame, he's good enough to play. What the coaches are going to do is what they're going to do. All I can do is tell y'all what I saw and what I know. I know that Deshaun Brame, where he's at right now, expect for him to only get better. Same thing for all these guys. I think that Brame is good enough that he can play as a true freshman. And number 3, we have GMAC. GMAC looked really good. What I love too about GMAC is on his first pass, he throws it to Tristan Keys, who's 2026 5-star wide receiver. And, we've told y'all before that he is trending to Tennessee. I love that. That lets me know, hey, I'm giving you that nod that we need you. We want you. If you come play here, if I'm the quarterback, I'm throwing the ball directly to you. So I think that GMAC looked really good just in everything. He made very, he threw the ball quickly. His clock was really, really quick. Something that we talked about with Nico. You need to know what you're doing pre-snap so that you can just go through your reads real quick, based off of what the defense is showing you and hit a guy. Whenever you're operating like that as a quarterback, you're going to have success, even if it's just dink and dunk, because what's going to happen is the defense starts to get frustrated. They start to get frustrated and they say, okay, well, whatever we're trying is not working. Now we got to start to, do different things. And that could open up some even bigger holes. So I love what he did there. He really only had one pass that that just wasn't perfect, right? So he was throwing the ball down the field, almost threw a pick. He threw it into coverage. I think that the safety made a really good break on that ball. But outside of that, I think that he was pretty much spot on. Some of his passes were a little bit underthrown, but that's something that I do believe as he gets a little bit thicker, as he gains weight, as he gets stronger, where he thinks that he can kind of, float them in there just lightly. And obviously there were still catchable balls, but those will be, instead of it, the wide receivers having to kind of bend down and make those catches, it'll be hitting them right in their chest. You know what I'm saying? Right where you want it to be. So I think his upside is great. Is he going to be able to play as a true freshman? Obviously not, because we have Nico. We all know that Nico is going to be that guy. I still think that Merck looks really good, but GMAC for the future, I think that if we need him, he's going to be ready. So I was impressed with how he played. At number 4, we could do number 4, number 5, maybe almost at the same spot. I'm going to go with Tristan Keys first, though, because he is a 2026 kid and he had more catches, but he also had more targets than Travis Smith did. So Tristan Keys and Travis Smith, about the same size. Travis Smith is going to be a little bit bigger. He's at about 6'3". Tristan Keys is at 6'2". Again, he's just a junior, so he's only going to get better. But I love what I saw from him just in several different things. He's making tough catches, whether that's in traffic, whether that's the ball being thrown low, going down, making a catch there, or, in any sort of way. He did a really good job there. His routes look good. He is explosive. He's a very explosive player. And then he's also very tough. There was one time when he made a catch, and I think that it was like a linebacker or something, tackled him. You could tell that he was kind of like trying to, not physically, not injure him, but you could tell that he was trying to put some pain on him, and it didn't even phase Tristan Keys. So you want those types of dogs everywhere on your entire team. But I think especially for your wide receivers, that's been a point of emphasis dating back to like last offseason, where we saw Coach Pope really trying to be physical with our wide receivers just to get them acclimated to how it's going to be, because teams have started to try to be more physical with our wideouts. But Tristan Keys, man, I think coming in 2026, if Tennessee can ultimately land them and hold on to them, because everyone's still going to want them, Tristan Keys looks very, very good in my opinion. Now, Travis Smith, I think he only had one catch. It might have been 2, but he didn't really get too many targets. And that, that is what the issue was right there. But just in watching him, and obviously with this, I don't have the all 22, but I did go back and watch this game several times. But Travis Smith, his routes look good. I think that his speed has picked up. That's something that he had talked about. Man, I got to get faster. Whatever he's doing so far, for me, it looks like it's already working. He has great body control as a bigger body player. He's one that I really think, and I've said this a million times, I think that he will play as a true freshman. Now, the question was asked to me, 5 or 6 minutes ago by Adam Fowler. Do I really think that Coach Pope is going to play these guys? I don't think that he has a choice. We don't have that many bodies inside of that room. He's going to have to play them. And we saw what happened with Mike Matthews, where he almost left. And I'm sure that one of the issues was he wasn't playing as much. We've heard the insiders kind of speaking to that. And I've told y'all, just in watching film on him, I could tell that he was getting visibly frustrated whenever he was not getting targets. So hopefully Coach Pope learned from that. Excuse me, hopefully all of our coaching staff has learned from that. If you're not playing these younger players, you better figure out how to do that and do it very, very quickly, or they will be gone. But Travis Smith, I think, he looked good. Again, his stat line's not going to tell you a whole lot, but just in kind of watching the way he's moving around, he was a guy that, he should have gotten more targets. I think that if they threw the ball to him more, the quarterbacks probably would have had some better numbers. But last, I'm going to have Ethan Utley, who I believe was number 55 for the blue team. I think that I don't even know what the name of the team was, but for the blue team, I saw him playing a lot at end, and he didn't really do much of anything. Just honestly speaking, so I wasn't that I wasn't too impressed right there. I think that he might need to work on a couple of things. Now, for me, I think that he is a true defensive tackle body. We've talked before. Can he play in? Can he play tackle? What I saw last night, I don't know that he has the twitchiness that we would want to play at end. I think that he's going to be better suited to what I think they have him listed at 265. He's going to want to gain, at least 30 pounds very, very quickly and try to play a tackle. He could be a very good 3 technique, I think, but maybe more of, I don't know if he's going to be able to get this big, but might be more of a 1 technique, more of the big O, more of the big E. This is a very small sample size, okay? But just based off of what I saw, if we're just going based off of that, I would say that that's more of where he's at. I just did not see enough pop. I didn't see enough twitch, right? It's like he would engage with blocks and he would just kind of stand there. You know what I'm saying? And even whenever he disengaged, it wasn't like a boom, it wasn't explosive. It was kind of, it was like a lot of slow twitch, which is, it's different from what I saw on his highlight tape. So I'm hoping that was just, maybe he wasn't feeling well. Maybe it was just a bad game for him, but, he's going to have to pick it up for sure. You know what I mean? And I had talked about, can he come in and play? I kind of said that he could be one of the guys that could come in and play right here. Looking at our tackle list, I have him as a guy that I think potentially could come in and play for us. At least that's how I felt before. Again, I don't know how I feel about that right now. He has a ways to go before I think he can see the field. And I would probably feel a little bit more comfortable if we could go out and get another defensive tackle body out of the transfer portal just to be safe. I think that we might need to do that. Now, haven't seen Marion Dye, haven't seen Campbell, haven't seen Charles House in any of these all-star situations. But right now, I would say that Ethan Utley would probably be on the bottom of my list to have an opportunity to, to come in and play as a true freshman, as an interior defensive lineman. Now, let's talk about the offensive line, because we did say David Sanders right now, for me, he's kind of like, it's probably going to be him and maybe J.C. Perry fighting for the starting right tackle spot. What's that going to mean for guys like Larry Johnson, who's probably going to be the backup left tackle? Will he also get the opportunity to fight for the right tackle spot? What about Bennett Warren? Is he going to get a chance? What about everybody else inside of that tackle room? Will they all get the real opportunity? Hopefully everyone does get that chance, but I'm thinking that probably David Sanders wins that spot. So then if Tennessee doesn't go out and, add another interior offensive lineman, so another guard, and if Andre Carrick doesn't come back next season, which does not sound like he will, I think that J.C. Perry can definitely play there, because J.C. Perry looks really, really good as well. At least last year, last season, whenever he got his opportunities, he looked very good. I think you could slide him in, let him play guard. You should feel great about that. You have Sham Umarov, you have Aiden Bustle, who are going to be third-year guys. Okay, so Coach E, for me, if you can't play your third-year guys that you went out and hand selected out of high school, if they can't see the field, there is a problem there. So I'm almost at the point where we've got too many bodies here that I almost don't even want to go out and add another guard. I don't want to go out and reach and just add a body just to add a body. I think that if we could have got Josh Thompson, hey, then, you kind of take things as they come. If, people want to transfer out and all that, to me, that would have been worth it. Outside of that, there was really no one else that I would want to pair along with a Wendell Moy out of the transfer portal. So I just want to kind of put all that out there for everybody of where I'm at right now, just mentally. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we've got a very long way to go. This is super early. It's a small sample size, but I was very, very impressed with David Sanders. He looks like a future Pro Bowl tackle for sure. Looks like he's going to be, on campus for 3 years, which is what I think he expected, and he's going to be gone. He looks about as good of a tackle, y'all, as I've seen coming out of high school. I got to go back to like Tyrone Smith, like for real. That's how good he looked. He looked a lot better than any of the other offensive linemen out there, period. All right, so Let me go ahead and get to some more of these chats real quick before this game starts up. Looks like we got about a minute. So from ETW for Life saying Brain looked very good to me. He's definitely going to fight for some playing time this year. Yeah, I mean, again, we're going, and I'm not disagreeing with you by any means. We're on the same page. I just want to make sure that I clear this up, that what we see and how we feel is not going to be what the coaches see and how they feel. I'm very excited about Brain. That room is deep. You know, he's going to have to be very consistent to show and prove that he can play. I don't think that he's going to necessarily be a starter, but I see no reason that we can't rotate him in. Let's rotate in at least 3 tight ends just because we have so many of them. Why not? Also from ETW for Life saying George also looked good, show some good accuracy. However, I would have liked a little more zip on some of his throws. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was talking about. Some of his throws, you know, you could tell that he's almost trying to catch it for those wide receivers, which I don't absolutely hate. I love throwing a catchable ball. Now, you're talking about zip, his touchdown pass, that was an NFL window that he fit that into. It was 2 people right there. You know, it was probably like a 15, 20-yard pass. Got it right there. So that's the arm talent that you want. That's the arm talent that you need. So it's definitely there. I just think that in some of the situations where maybe he's kind of reeling, falling back some, where he's, you know, where the ball's not quite getting there, not like in a perfect way, but it's getting there, but it's not perfect. As he gets stronger, now he'll be able to fall back, boom, 25 yards, is right on the money. So I think that he has a really high upside from that perspective. All right, next one is from Adam Fowler saying our team just has a problem playing young guys early in the season instead of throwing them in a game against a top 5 team in the middle of the year. So that's true in some spots. I mean, linebacker, we play the young guys, we play them early, that we don't have a problem there, as long as they're healthy. Running back is a place where we will play them. I think that we need to rotate more bodies right there. I don't like the idea of only rotating in 2 backs. You need to at least be rotating in 3. I think that you need to start the season off. We're going to rotate at least 3 guys so that we can stay fresh, because we saw what happened to Dylan Sampson in that Vandy game. Okay, he got hurt and then he couldn't play after 2 or 3, whatever, 4 weeks off versus the Buckeyes. He could only play very, very limited because we ran him into the ground. So we have to rotate more there. I think that maybe the secondary could be a place that, if I think we're gonna have to do it there too, because we've got our best cornerback. We don't know exactly when he's going to be back, but some of the younger guys are going to have to step up there. So that's a spot. Obviously with our front on defense, we rotate in a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have to rotate in as many freshmen this year, but in years past, we have done that. It's all about who do you have, as depth pieces. If they're upperclassmen, then they're probably going to be playing more than those freshmen. But I think that in most spots, we are playing young players. It's just really more about wide receiver, which we kind of touched on that. Coach Pope has got to do a much better job there. Offensive line, we haven't had to do it because we've had so many veterans, but we've also had so many veterans because every single year we'll go into the portal and we're adding veterans. We added 1 this year. I think 1 is enough. Let the young guys play. They've got to get better at some point. So hopefully that is what the game plan is for 2025 and beyond. Also from Adam Fowler saying, also I watched Ra Jackson play at the end of the season, and that dude's route running looks amazing. He's very explosive. Yeah, so I think that he looks really good. I think that he's a very raw athlete. I had to disagree about his route running. His route running, for me, that's the one thing that probably needs the most work. His routes are, he needs to. He's going to have to work on that. I'll just say it that way. But the good news is, with really good athletes, it's not hard to teach somebody how to run routes. Like that's not hard. I mean, that's very easy. That's a very, very simple thing to teach someone. So I think that he'll be fine from that perspective. But yeah, he's a hell of an athlete, super athlete. His ceiling is also very high because he still has a lot of football things that he can learn. And as you learn some of the savviness within the game, that makes you exponentially better. From Anonymous Trucker saying top interior D-line this season. Top interior D-line this season. Yeah, okay. So are you saying that we will have a top interior defensive line this year? I don't know if that's what you're saying, but if that is what you're saying, I would have to disagree. I think that the interior of our D line is going to take a step back from last year. We're losing 3 guys that were really good. 2 of them I don't see the bodies on the roster to take over their spots. I don't see it yet. Players are going to have to get a lot bigger to be able to fill those types of roles. And I don't necessarily see a true pass rusher that I know of. Like a Omar Norman Lott. Because he was one of our better. Like him and James Pierce had the highest pressure rates out of any of our players. They're both gone. So I don't know if the interior defensive line. I think that it's going to take a step back next year. We might take a step forward in almost every other place, almost, but that's one of my concerns for sure. From Dry FTWX saying, who are the best Vol performers in the Polynesian Bowl? By the way, what's up? Hey, what's going on, brother? So let me pull that back up because you might have came in late, and I'll show you who the best performers were for me. And this is in order. Just for those of y'all that are just now chiming in. From Anonymous Trucker also saying that Bryson Easton, Jackson Moy, David Hobbs, and Ethan Utley. Yeah, so Bryson Easton, Jackson Moy, David Hobbs, all three of those guys, really good. I could also throw a Nathan Robinson in there. I think Nathan Robinson, he's going to be really good. We haven't seen him play as much in critical situations, but I love what I saw. He's a taller guy, does a great job at the point of contact, all that good stuff. Then we have Wallace, who I've said it a couple of times. There's a lot of things that I like about his game, but he's got a little ways to go. And if he can pick that up over the offseason, then I think that room looks a whole lot better because those are all veterans. After that, we're talking about underclassmen. I think that if Marion Dye plays at defensive tackle, which there's no guarantee that he would, but he has a very high upside right there. He's already like 6'4", 6'5", 270. Might be already bigger than that, but he's a guy that could get up to about 290-ish, maybe even 300 before the season starts and be outstanding. Then we have Campbell. He, to me, is a true defensive tackle. And, I think his pop said that he was at a lean, mean 270. I think that's what he said. So, if he get another 20 pounds, he's one that I think most definitely, as a true freshman, he's going to take his lumps early on. Probably most players do, but he's going to learn from it. He's going to get better from it. I think that right there, once the underclassmen inside of that room, once they get better, then, yeah, that room will take that step forward. But for me right now, Ethan Utley might be on the bottom of my list. And again, it's just based off of what I saw last night. The other players didn't play in the All-Star game that I got to see. So maybe they, I don't know, maybe he looked better than them, and maybe he just had a bad game last night. But I would say that Ethan Utley is a guy that he's got a little ways to go. You know what I'm saying? He's going to either have to gain some weight or he's going to have to get a lot faster, like a lot, not just faster, but quicker and everything, not just with his feet, but with his hands, with everything. So I think he's got a little ways to go. Anonymous Trucker right there. Let's see. Right here. Anonymous Trucker also saying that Bailey and West coming back as defensive ends. Yeah, so I think that Dominic Bailey can also slide inside for you and play some tackle. Tyree West can do it too. Both of those guys do it within our Rabbits package. So we've got a lot of depth, I think, on the ends. But if you're talking about with our tackles, that's where we've got Bryson Easton coming back, who I know about. Jackson Moy, I know what he looks like. I think he needs to get better. David Hobbs looks good, but he needs to get better. So I think that we've got one guy that is on par with what we had last season as far as the starters go. And then the two that I just named, they're not necessarily on par with those starters. You know what I'm saying? They're not really on par with that 2D, not from what we saw last season, but they probably will get better. And if they do, and they get up to that level, then yeah, I would say that defensive tackle, them and some other players, we need guys to step up because there's a lot of youth inside of that room. From SEC football saying George McIntyre will be better than Nico. Highlight and save my comment and come back in 2 years. Okay. Hey, look, it would be great if all the quarterbacks that we bring in end up being better than the previous one. And if all of the ones, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hope that you're not saying this because you think that Nico is a bust or you think that Nico's not going to be good, because I still think that Nico, from a talent perspective, is as good, if not better, than any other quarterback that will be in college next season. I think that he's more talented than some NFL quarterbacks. And y'all might not believe me when I say that, but he really is. His talent level is as high as it can. Like, I've never seen a quarterback with more talent. So I've never seen that. His talent profile is crazy. There's some things that he's going to have to learn. Obviously, him being a freshman last year, first time being a starter, he's going to take his lumps too, just like everybody else. I think he looked a lot better towards the end of the season, but he still has to continue to grow. But I think that Nico can lead us to the promised land, and I think that Merck can do it. I think that GMAC can do it, and Faison. Hope that we can keep all those guys, and again, hope that they continue to get better. From Anonymous Trucker saying that Brandon Faison is going to start in 2 years. Hey, listen, I can't call it. We have the luxury of just like one of the craziest quarterback calls that I can think of in quite some time. It's been a long time since I've seen this many, real true 5-star, almost can't miss prospect at quarterback back to back to back. Now, I know that Fulmer had some Former definitely had his run with some too. But I think that this might be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? I think it might be just a little bit different. From anonymous trucker saying if Nico is gone, Nico's going to be gone. Nico's gone at the next season, regardless. That like he's gone. From Michael D saying young guys need to play, or they will transfer. You don't know what you got until they face the fire. 100%. That's what it's all about. You got to throw them out there. You have to. You have to find ways to put them out there. SEC football saying that Brandon Faison is going to have to outbeat George McIntyre. Josh isn't going to hand the keys to Brandon. Yeah, he's gonna have to win his spot. He ain't gonna get handed nothing. But I will say though, honestly speaking, out of all the quarterbacks, y'all, that we are bringing in for me, I do think that Faison, I think, I might be the most excited about him. Obviously, like outside of Nico, but Faison and Nico are just different. I think that Faison's got a little bit more. Faison is more polished as a quarterback, so I think that he might see success a little bit earlier. Because I just not realized this, but Nico hasn't really played quarterback for that long, so he's still learning some of the stuff. And as he gets more polished as a quarterback, he's going to be unstoppable. But yeah, I think Faison, he's got a ridiculously high ceiling. From Matthew Wilkins, what's going on, Matthew? Saying Faison is going to be better than GMAC, no doubt. He can start as a true freshman. I think he's got the talent to do it, but we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We just don't know. From Michael D, defense will be less than stellar this year, so the offense better step up. So I think that outside of defensive tackle, right? Obviously, we've got star. We've got our best cornerback is going to be down. I would say that let's look for him to be back playing by the UGA week. I think that he'll be back healthy by the start of the season, but he's got to get himself back into game shape. He's got to get comfortable moving around. So cornerback, maybe we could take a little bit of a step back, but linebacker should take a major step forward. I mean, major step forward. Linebacker should be the best that Coach Heupel's had. Safeties could potentially take a step forward. There's a lot of young guys in there that, we'll see how much better can they get. But that room is still deep. Obviously, star position. How much is Boo Carter going to be playing if he's playing both sides? He might not be able to play as much. We got to find a really good backup for him, somebody who can split time with him. So I don't know if I would say that the defense would be necessarily less than stellar. I think that we could still be very, very good. A lot of times defense is about scheme. Really everything in football is about the scheme. You've got to find ways to utilize the personnel that you have. Play to the strengths of your roster and play to the weaknesses of the team that you're playing. If Coach Banks would do a little bit more of that, which I don't think that he did in the biggest games, he did it for most of the season, but in the biggest games, he didn't do it. Actually, even versus Arkansas. Well, I mean, I can't get mad at the defense for what happened versus Arkansas. Really, the offense needs to step up more. The whole point right here is I do think that the defense, if we take a step back, maybe to start the season off, and if we're playing more young people, I think that by the end of the year, the defense could actually end up being better for it and can end up being better than this defense was last season. If you couple that with Coach Tim Banks being willing to do what it takes, like if we need to blitz because we're not getting pressure, then blitz because we're not getting pressure. Like you've got to affect the quarterback. If he can commit to that, then yeah, I think that I think that the defense is going to be just fine. Let's get to DRY FTWX. Tristan Keys isn't in the boat yet, though. Is he? Bowl? No. So Tristan Keys is not. He is not. He's not part of the class yet. He's not part of the 2026 class yet. But everything is kind of pointing towards that's where he wants to be. He wants to be. He wants to be in that class. Obviously, playing with Faison, that's going to help out a lot. So we could have several really good wide receivers inside of that class, but I think that Tristan Keys is one that we can expect to add at some point, and I think that we'll hold on to him too. I just get that vibe from him. Like sometimes you can tell somebody's personality. Like this is a Tennessee kid. Sometimes you can just tell. For me, he's got that. He's just got that kind of like quiet dog, sort of a go to work. Work hard, maximum effort, sort of like that's the Tennessee way. So I think that he is coming on home. From anonymous trucker saying, did Mike Matthews redshirt? I don't know. That's a really good question. I have no idea. I think he's a sophomore. I don't know if he might have played in too many games for him to redshirt. I think that if you play in more than 4 games, then you can't redshirt. So I don't think that he's going to redshirt. From Matthew Wilkins, he's saying no. Okay, yes, he's talking about that. And hey, look, even if Mike Matthews did redshirt, he's not coming back for a 4th year. Like we need to anticipate that every player that we get just 3 years. Okay, and let's just keep that in mind. Everyone wants to be gone in 3 years. The really good ones, 5-star guys, really highly rated 4-star guys, they're expecting to be gone in 3 years. So the whole red shirt thing probably doesn't even matter. They're going to go as soon as they can go. If they don't leave to go into the league, then they probably won't be staying here. Because if we can't get them to the league, then yeah, they'll probably want to go play somewhere else. That's just how things go these days. From Rick Northcote saying Travis Smith needs to work on his get off. I noticed that during the game last night. Yeah, so with Travis Smith, and typically I think with all these taller players, what you will notice, even like you could think of like a Randy Moss, the first step, and if this is what you're talking about, if you're talking about his first step, it's typically not fast. It's not an instant because, and even if you look at, some of these, world-class sprinters, these taller guys like a Bolt, his first step ain't, it ain't super fast. But the long distance, because they're longer striders. So once they get up to their top speed, it's faster than everybody else's because they can eat up a lot more ground, right? So if you think about watching Bolt race, typically he's not leading for probably like the first 40 or 50 meters. But once they get to 60, 70, he's pulling away, like he's pulling away quickly. So that's just one of those things that it's a lot more difficult for the taller, longer players to have that quick, explosive first step. But the question for me is, and it's not even a question, but the question before this, game and all that, really, I had even noticed this kind of, I'll say midway through the season with Travis Smith, is that his first step might not be instant, but second and third step, boom, boom, boom. Like he gets it going quickly for his size. See what I'm saying? So I think that he will be fine. And he's strong enough that if cornerbacks want to press him, he can push them off. You said he's got a strong upper body. He's a strong kid. So I think that he will be fine. But obviously, you want to try to get better at everything all the time. From DRY FTWX saying David Sanders being one of our tackles just makes me so excited. Hopefully, he takes our O-line to a different level against a Georgia or OSU team. I think that he could. And actually, I think it was Matthew. Him and I were kind of going back and forth. And, I did say, I'm not going to count out really anybody as a starter. But, I don't think that it's a huge problem if he's not starting. Hopefully he doesn't want to transfer out. But yeah, I would say based off of what I saw, I feel very comfortable. I feel a lot more comfortable with him starting than I did previously. From SEC football, do you think we can win the national championship this year? I don't know. It's way too early to tell. As the roster is built right now, I don't see that being very realistic. You know what I'm saying? I think that we can make a push. I don't know if it's a realistic thought at this point with the roster not even being all the way put together for me to say, oh, yeah, we can go win it. And I mean, I'm not saying that we can. I think that we can. I just don't think that it's probable. There's a few things we definitely need to get fixed. Like we need at least one more wide receiver for sure. All right, so last one right here from Rick Northcote saying Vols recruiting classes are improving from past years. The core foundations of great teams. Vols are rising. Yeah, I think that this 2026 class could be top 3. I mean, it's top 3 right now. We've been saying that for a while. Like after we got Faze on, we're like, yeah, we think that this one could be top 3. But yeah, it could end up being number 1. We just got to keep on pushing, and I've seen the staff targeting some of these really high caliber players. They're sending a lot of coaches at them. So I know that they're trying to bring these guys in, but we got to seal the deal. We got to bring them on home all the way. And once we do that, then we will be fine. Let me get to this last one right here from Unsung, saying put Sanders under center on the goal line. He would definitely score. Oh, man. Oh, that's the other thing, too. Seeing that one-handed catch that he made on the sideline whenever, David Sanders was sitting on the bench, the way that he caught that, number one, he's got some huge hands. And number 2, again, he's an incredible athlete. But, yeah, I think that we could do I think that we could throw the football to him. Like, he might be a good enough athlete that in certain situations, he could, be like a tackle eligible, almost like a tight end. I think that he could do that. He's one of those types of guys. So, that's it, y'all. I got to get to the game because I am super, super late. Yep. So let me go ahead and get to the game, y'all. And we might end up coming back at some point today, or if not, then we'll probably see y'all tomorrow. But thank y'all so much for joining us, and we will see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.